Hey Gearslutz, this is Daniël from Livestock Electronics. I'm here at Dutch Modular Fest and I'm about to show you some new stuff. The biggest thing that I have is a total rebranding of my panels. Now I have more of a retro futurism vibe going on, and I will launch it with the new modules, so that's Ellis, Shepard and Leap. But of course for the older modules you can get the new panels as well from my web shop. So let's start here with the Ellis. It's a preset making module. The intention here is that if you have another module which is, let's say, analog, has CV inputs, but you cannot make a preset for it, Ellis will allow you to do that. So I have a sound here, CV input, go here. Now I've changed the sound. I can switch between presets just by push of a button. I can, of course, edit the presets for each of the 8 outputs here. They're all volts per octave. Then I can also sequence them, so you can automate going through those presets. And the other thing is that you have a left and a right side, so you can switch between the left and the right side view with this button. So one is cyan, the other is red, and you can morph from one to the other with this knob. So imagine having 8 parameters in your system and you can all change them at the same time with just one knob. Then you have morphing speed, so when I switch between presets, it morphs instead of just change it statically. Then the second module is Sheppard. It's a 6-channel sequencer. The idea here is that you create patterns. So during your live set, you just play with those patterns, trigger them by hand. And then you have the mute buttons here. They're always available, of course. Can go into the other mode, start editing my sequences. So if I press on a step, I can start editing it. You have the 4 outputs here, and each of the outputs can be any output type you want. So it can be note, arpeggio, gate, trigger, synced LFO, free LFO, ADSR envelope, and AD envelope. And then each of these output types has 4 parameters to choose, or to change actually. But you don't have to go very complex with it. So the standard setting is that the first one is a gate, second one is pitch output, and then you have 2 envelope outputs or LFO output on one. And you can set that as well yourself. So every time you create a new step, it goes to that preset, which is really handy if you want to work fast. In total, you can go up to 256 steps. So you can really build your patterns, create dynamic sequences. So the possibilities are endless, basically, with 256 patterns as well, and multiple live sets that you can back up and retrieve from the SD card there. Then lastly is the Leap, which is a envelope and a LFO in one. So here you have the normal ADSR. For the ADSR, you have a 10-uverter, so I can turn it down, invert it, add DC offset, so now you get a ducking envelope. You have different curves. It could go really long as well, to very short. The ADSR stages are CV controllable with these inputs, and you can also loop the ADSR. Then the other side is the LFO. Again, you have a 10U version on this knob, DC offset on the other one. So if I switch between modes, you see that the LED shows you what the previous setting was in the other mode. So you can pick it up where you left off. So for the LFO, again you use the sliders to control the parameters. You have frequency here, frequency modulation, which is the envelope modulating the LFO. So if I go here, you have amplitude modulation, again the envelope modulating the amplitude of the LFO. And offset, which is phase offset, or pulse width if you're using a pulse. You can switch the waves with this button, and that's about it. So these two will be out in about 2 weeks, and 260 euros including tax. This one 200 euros including tax, and I'm planning to start the production on Sheppard around November. Well, thank you too.